We did a Literacy for Life project. I'm Trisha Burns.
I'm Angela Spurgeon.
And we're going to talk about this project with the 6 A's rubric. So with authenticity, this project was very authentic. What the students did is they picked a charity that they wanted to donate money for books for, and we had 7 different charities that they chose to work with. And we got some thank you notes and stuff, like this was from a newsletter, and then we have a big card that one of the charities sent us to thank us for the books that we gave them. So I'm thinking this was a very authentic project. For academic rigor, the math that they did for this project was they had to decide which books out of the Usborne catalog that they wanted to get, and then they had to make a goal based on what the group wanted, and then they had to graph a line, and then they learned that the slope of that line was their daily goal, so they had to interpret slope and y-intercept of the graph, and then fill in the blanks to decide how much they needed to bring in daily. For English,
the students had to read a total of 300 minutes with their group and document their reading. They also had to write journals about the reading. And then, in addition to that, they had to research literacy, and they had to create a pamphlet or a bookmark. And you can see some bookmarks here on the poster. They had to create a pamphlet or a bookmark that was sent in each book to the families, and the bookmark or the pamphlet, the goal of it was to show the parents the importance of early literacy skills and reading with your children. So they talked about why it was important on the booklet or the bookmark or the pamphlet, and they also talked about, gave strategies that parents could use when they're reading with their children.
For applied learning, some of the things that our kids had to do is, since we didn't know which charities that they were going to choose to work with, they had to develop a questionnaire and contact the charity either by email or phone. So they were really working with the community with that, and they created the questionnaire, like I said, of what questions to ask. They turned it in, well, we got it approved, and then they contacted. And then some groups decided to contact people to donate. So we had some donations from like insurance companies. They donated money. We had a group who wanted to do a GoFundMe site, so they had to help write that. And then for active exploration, they almost kind of those same things where they were gathering the resources themselves, contacting people, calling them. They also had to determine what books in the Usborne catalog were going to be good for the age group needed, and they had to find the surface area of the books to tell me an approximation for how much wrapping paper they needed.
They also had to, in the research, they had to be able to cite textual evidence and statistics to show the importance of reading at home and also giving strategies. So they were also researching the importance of literacy in the process.
For adult connections, some of the things that we haven't already brought up with the students contacting the adults, a lot of the students got to deliver their books to the charities themselves, so they got to meet people in their environment. Or if that wasn't able to happen, then the charities and organizations came here to school, and we pulled the kids out of class so they could get to meet the people who were working with the families that would get the books. So they had that connections there. Plus they got that experience of filling out like a real Usborne order form and working on making sure that the books got ordered correctly, like in an adult professional way. And then for assessment practices, We did some quizzes and tests for the math to make sure they understood the slope-intercept form, and then the real-life meaning of slope and y-intercept. And then also with surface area, we practiced that, and they had to do those things individually.
We did have a kind of a chart to help track progress, to show the benchmarks and the date due and who was making sure it gets done and the date that it was actually completed, so that they were able to track progress. Some of the dates were listed, other dates were open for them to choose, but they were able to keep track of their progress and keep track of where they were at in the benchmarks.
So we think by looking at the 6A's rubric that this was an exemplary project. Thanks.